Good evening, everyone. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I welcome you to join us in the conversation tonight. We're going to be talking about the family feud between Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump, which is truly amazing to me that it has gotten to this point. And I got to tell you, I was all ready to, be calling Marjorie crazy lady and all kinds of things. But, the more I'm digging into it, the more I'm wondering what the hell is going on here. It's just crazy. Hey, J.A., thanks for coming. Hiya, I made it before it ended for once. Yes, thank you so much. Thanks for popping over from sunny Florida. Appreciate it. Hello, Francine. How are you? Good to have you. Hi, Mother. How are you? And Angela Ricca. Good to have you. This feud, tell me what you think about this because, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been known to, kind of go off the deep end a little bit, but she's also known as a really good friend to President Trump. And she, exhausted herself to campaign for the president. So to see what's going on now is kind of disturbing. And the interesting thing is that I think a lot of people are misinterpreting. When I say people, I'm talking about Democrats. I think a lot of Democrats are misinterpreting this falling out as that MTG thinks that there's something to hide in the Epstein files. And I'm going to play you a clip in a little while so that you can hear what she actually has to say about that. Kim, how are you? Mayor Fluff and stuff. Yes, I love it. That's amazing. I don't know what's going on with MTG. I want to think there's something we don't understand going on. I don't know if anybody's watched her interview on The View or not, but I'm going to play you a little clip of that too, which was also very interesting. Hello, Andrew Dorman. It's, the thing that concerns me is Trump's reaction to her. We had a big win when those 8 Democrats came over and voted to open the government, and our message was being heard loud and clear. But as they always do, congressional Democrats have their act together when it comes to messaging. And they pivoted and started with this whole Epstein stuff. Hello, Sachin. Nice to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. And I believe you're a first-time viewer, so thank you very much, and we're happy to have you here. You're very welcome. No matter what you're going to say, you're very welcome here. So thank you. This is a format where everybody gets to speak their mind and nobody gets ganged up on. Maybe lulling the left into false sense of security. I would love to think that was going on. But I have to tell you something, Jay. I don't have that much confidence in us. And I'll tell you why. Because Republicans tend to be individual thinkers, right? We don't do the group think thing very well, which is why MTG is kind of off the reservation, and Massey as well. Republicans have been known for not, walking in lockstep. And that's important for me as a Republican to know that is still the case. The unfortunate thing is that when you don't walk in lockstep, the message could be all over the place, right? Because when the Democrats speak, they speak in one voice, so much so that they actually have talking points that they share amongst each other. So they all sound like they're little robots. And that, that gets people wondering too, because if you have 40, 50 lawmakers all saying the exact same thing, and pushing these talking points out, and the news media mimicking these talking points, then you start to feel like you are being propagandized. And I don't think the public wants that at all. So the problem, there's always a risk when you're not acting like that, there's a risk that your message is going to get lost in the sauce. And I think that that's what's happening right now. Yeah, I agree with you. Hi, Susan. The thing is that Marjorie has always been, well, let's just see a kind of compilation, something that happened to her at CNN. We remember that she was sanctioned, and there were a lot of Republicans that voted for sanctioning her when she was a devout QAnon follower. And that'll be addressed too in the clips that we have today. But anyway, just a little reminder as we get started who Marjorie Taylor Greene always has been. Okay, let's see. Here it is.
Liar. You are letting this go on, and the numbers prove it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene was silenced at a hearing by a member of her own party. Greene blamed the Department of Homeland Security Secretary for U.S. fentanyl deaths.
How many more people do we have to watch die every single day in America? How long are you going to let this go on?
Congresswoman, let me assure you that we're not letting it go on. We are fighting this.
No, I reclaim my time. You're a liar.
We can disagree. You don't have to call a witness a liar.
The rules state you can't impugn someone's character. Identifying or calling someone a liar is unacceptable in this committee. And I make the ruling that we strike those words. When we strike, it does terminate the time of the individual who is speaking. So the gentlelady is no longer recognized.
Greene left the hearing shortly after that moment.
So, that's kind of, I think that little clip is Marjorie Taylor Greene in a nutshell. No pun intended. That's, she's outspoken. She doesn't follow the script. And I think that always endeared her to me. A wee bit nutty. I know. But, I'd rather have a crazy loon out there, doing her thing than a whole bunch of robot soldiers. It's scary. Those damn robot soldiers are scary. Good evening, Kevin Young. Good to have you. A loose cannon. Yes, I'll take it. A loose cannon. She's definitely that. But you know what? JA, that's what they called me my whole political career. And, it's funny. Somebody chat GPT'd me and send me over what they had to say. And I was really shocked to see that they kind of targeted me as a loose cannon and somebody who doesn't follow, swims against the current. Hello, Lucille. Good to have you. Did I say that already? I'm sorry if I did. I agree with you there. Yeah. So here's the thing. What I'm concerned about is what I see happening between MTG and DJT these days is very similar to, I don't know if there's any Staten Islanders on tonight that will remember Guy Molinari and the feud that I had with Guy as the county chairwoman. But Guy, just to sum it up, Guy Molinari was a congressman, assemblyman first, and then a congressman, and then he left Congress to become borough president. And he was a force to be reckoned with on Staten Island. He had fights. I mean, he actually challenged some elected officials to boxing matches. He had verbal altercations and physical altercations with a lot of elected officials. And he led Staten Island for about 30 years, the Republican Party, and he got a lot of things done. And when I became county chair, we had a falling out. He wanted to back John McCain, and the rest of the committee wanted to back George W. Bush. Looking back on it, I think both were probably the wrong move at the time, but Bush ultimately won. So anyway, we had a big falling out, and what could I possibly say as a newbie, who was supposed to kind of be behind the scenes as a county leader? My job was to defend all the Republican elected officials, not to take on, my own borough president. And what we finally did was we killed him with kindness. We kind of said, guy, he's a great man. He's done some great things, and we all love him, and we all appreciate that he gave us our start. But he's getting a little older, and maybe he's just maybe out of touch with what was going on, and that is what we did over and over again, and we won the day. And guess what? Marjorie Taylor Greene seems to be doing the same thing with Trump. She's killing him with kindness. Yes, she has been fighting these liars for years. Hello, Tony Herbert, my brother from another mother. So good to have you here. And so good that I love the commentary that we had on my post the other day when we talked about Trump in 2019, the Trump administration actually being the ones that arrested Epstein and threw him in jail. And there were people who want to rewrite history and pretend that Trump, DOJ, Bill Barr and those did not have communications with Trump, and that the FBI somehow didn't. And we all have to grow up and recognize that, that happens all the time. Happened with Clinton, happened with Obama, happened with Reagan, happened with Nixon. People in the past have gone to jail. U.S. attorneys, I think there was one, I can't remember his name, for, breaking barriers and having discussions where they shouldn't have. But to believe that they don't is crazy. They all did. I mean, think about John F. Kennedy and his brother. Are you telling me that John F. Kennedy didn't direct his brother as the U.S. attorney? Please. That's just crazy. Hi, Kevin Young. Yes. Reminds me of the DJT and Musk feud. Yeah, it does. It reminds me a lot of that. And you just have to wonder, and she says it, that he fights with everybody at some point. And I guess that's true. Same thing with Musk. I guess that's true. Same thing with her. Remember him well. Yeah, Guy Molinari, that is. Guy Molinari was a legend indeed. He was. He did a lot of great things for Staten Island. How grippy is it? How gripey or grippy? I don't know how that word is being used. Help me out, Gary Reynolds. Grippy? What? Her you got to just give me a few more words so I can follow you, because the chat moves and I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to. So grippy, like what she's saying, or the fight, or what? Hello, Colleen. Hi, Maisie. Good to have you. We all love Staten Island legend Guy Molinari. Yeah, but the thing is that we changed the way people thought of him because we killed him with kindness, and that's what she's doing. Look, I want you to see this. This is a long clip, but I think it's worth watching. It is almost 5 minutes, but it's her appearance on The View, and it's not, it's not in order, okay? But I think they're important things. I want you to listen, pay close attention to actually, you know what? No, first we're going to go to the Epstein conversation because Dana Bash, MTG was on Dana Bash, and they were talking about the feud. So listen to this. This is worth the time.
Political breakup heard round the world. President Trump severing ties with at least one of his closest allies, declaring, "I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene," even calling for primary challenges against his one-time loyalists and attacking her as, quote, wacky, a ranting lunatic, a rhino, and a traitor. This is days before the House of Representatives is set to vote on releasing the Epstein files. It's a stunning breach between two MAGA leaders, one of whom is here with me now exclusively for her first interview since the president cut ties, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. What do you think happened here?
Well, Dana, thank you for having me on, and that is true. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected, And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files. And I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
You said on X yesterday, quote, "It's astonishing really how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, and that it really makes you wonder what is in those files." Are you suggesting there's something in the Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
I think that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support. I would like to see all of the women there with support. I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone is asking, is why fight this so hard?
Well, before this blow up, you sort of alluded to this just now. You said you were confident the president wouldn't be implicated. Are you still confident of that?
I'm listening to the women. Those are the ones that are saying that he did nothing wrong. Virginia Giuffre even said under oath that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, and she wrote it in her book. So I'm continuing to listening to the women, and I think their voices should be the loudest.
So, you know, you would think that if they were doing the like the Musk and Trump fallout, that, you know, she would have left it dangling, but she doesn't. She defends the president, which I think is important to recognize. She's killing him with kindness, and I understand what she's saying about releasing these files, because nobody wants the rich and powerful protected. But I also don't want, if there can be a case to be brought against the rich and powerful, and the information is contained in these files to bring the case, I don't want to tip off these very smart attorneys that the rich and powerful will be hiring, so that these girls don't get restitution, these women now, right? And also, I don't want people's names flying out there if they don't want their names out there. Her appearance on The View ticked me off. Me too. And I thought I was going to do scorched earth on her until I saw it. And I'm going to play a clip for you in a minute. And yet the Dems wouldn't support Tim Burchett's motion to release the Epstein files on the House floor. Okay, that gets this, because that is important. Why didn't they support Tim Burchett? Because it was outside their script. Their script was get the petition signed, get the votes, force the files to come out, have Trump say no, and have the Republicans vote against it, kind of like what happened with the closure of government. The Republicans voted 16 times to open it, and the Democrats voted 15 times to not open it. Now there was a talking point. So now what are they going to do? Are they going to say, oh, all these people voted against releasing the files and making a case against them for 2026? Yes, exactly. If they would have voted, if they would have not blocked Burchett's unanimous consent, because that's what they did, they blocked it, those files would have been out last week. And then they would have had nothing left to speak about, because they know that there's no implication for Trump. What's going to happen is that there are going to be people, that probably well-known people, that you're going to be shocked when you see their names in there. Yeah, okay, you think so? Well, you tell me how you know that. And what proof do you have, Aubrey of Maryland? Tell me why you've decided that Trump is a pedo. Just tell us why. I'd like to know. I still like her. I do too. I do too. They just need to release all of it. I agree 100%, and they should have always released all of it. I'm only taking the drugs if she's MF10. Okay, Cast Blast, whatever you say. So that the whole thing is that once again we're playing politics with people's lives, and that's what I don't like. I don't like that the Democrat machine does not care about those victims. They don't care. They care about Aubrey being able to jump on here and call Trump a pedo. That's what they'd like. They'd like to pretend that Bill Clinton wasn't there, that Obama wasn't there, that Prince Andrew wasn't there, that lots of Democrats weren't over on Epstein Island or on the plane or didn't have a relationship. They want to pretend this was all just Trump and Epstein. They also want to pretend that Trump didn't arrest him. They also want to pretend that Trump had nothing to do in 2004 with him being arrested. That's what they want. But and you know what? Because they're little robots, they might get it if us thinking people and the MAGA doesn't stick together and support one another. And that's the thing about MTG that concerns me, is that I understand what she's trying to do, but I think there was a different way to do it than she's been doing it. Yes, she campaigned on releasing the files. Yes, so did he. Everybody did. But it's not like they haven't released the files. They've been releasing them. To do it because the Democrats are pressing, I just think we missed a whole opportunity on this. They were ready to pivot, and we weren't. I agree, Leticia. They are so full of hate for Trump. Yeah, well, this is all a ploy for 2026. Let's take it back so we can impeach him and throw him in jail and shut him up forever and ever and ever. That's what they're looking for. And that can't be allowed. Trump was the one who blew the whistle in Epstein. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. But again, the facts don't matter. If the facts mattered, I would be borough president right now. The facts don't matter. It's how they're presented and how receptive your audience is to hearing what it is you're speaking about. The Democrats, it doesn't matter to them that they look like robots, the House Democrats and National Democrats. It doesn't matter that they look just not genuine, right? It doesn't matter that they look like they're hypocrites, because they are. Because the truth is if we want to start digging, let's go into Hollywood. Forget Epstein. Just let's go into Hollywood and let's see what's going on there. Okay, there's plenty. Harvey Weinstein and all that, tip of the iceberg. There's plenty. How many child actors and actresses have unalived themselves? I've got to be careful of what I say, because of what happened to them in Hollywood. How many young women were taken advantage of on what they call a casting couch to get a part? Still to this day, how many young men are in that same position? Hollywood is notorious for pedophilia, so much so that California has now allows for what is it called? A minor attracted person. Okay, so don't try and distract with this, but they can distract with this. Why? Because the MAGA base is so opposed to this type of hypersexualizing children. So opposed. Unless, of course, you're in the pageant business, and then we know that all those young girls have been hypersexualized. So if there was something bad in the files about Trump, they would have released it before the election in 2024. Something tells me Trump is trying to protect someone that's in those files, although I can't figure out who. I'm going to say I'm going to say it's multiple people, and I think he said it already with Obama and Clinton and some others. And I'm going to think that it really has to do with national security and the decision to what do you do now? Do you arrest a former president? Do you arrest a Secretary of State? Well, do you arrest whoever that person is and put them on trial? And that becomes the focus of the rest of his the 3 years that he has left. That's problematic too. But you want justice for these women and young people, right? That were raped and taken advantage of. So how do you handle it? This is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And he knows it. They call us a cult, yet they fall in line like robots. It's bizarro world. Well, you know that it's got nothing to do with truth. Nothing. It's all got to do with messaging, as we saw from, the Maryland person there. He blew the whistle on all of them. That's why they keep going after Trump when he's done everything to save America. Yes, but, and then, all right, I'm going to show you minor attracted. Yes, thank you. Maps, yes. Let's watch this together and listen to MTG on The View. Listen to Joy Behar. This is really interesting. Really, really interesting. No, that's not it. Hold on a second. Let me find where we are. Here it is.
Trump is reportedly calling his MAGA cronies because they say that you're slamming Republicans too much. Well, you're taking my job. You're slamming Republicans a lot on topics like health care, the Epstein files. We know he's still your favorite president. I mean, Truman is mine. I dated him.
But I did not date Donald Trump. But I do love him.
You do love him, yeah.
Yes, I did.
All right, well, whatever. So when was the last time you spoke to him? And what's with the tension between the two of you? You may love him, but he may not love you back right now.
Well, that's okay. I mean, Donald Trump, he usually yells at everybody, so we're all used to it. But he's the president of the United States. And here's something you all may not know about me. I think a lot of people on the left are learning that when I ran for Congress in 2020, I ran criticizing Republicans and Democrats equally, because I come from a working class family, ran a construction company for over 20 years. And I feel like the government has failed all of us. And it purely disgusts me. It really does. And I represent a district that is rural, manufacturing district, blue-collar workers, and people have been crushed by decades of failure in Washington, D.C.
We're talking about MAGA voters who believed that the president made promises like lowering grocery prices on day one. Right now, grocery prices, inflation is up, soybean and cattle farmers are on the verge of bankruptcy. Millions have lost their food stamps and are about to lose their health care, while we're watching $40 billion to bail out Argentina. What is going on?
For me, I am unapologetically America first, and I'll do anything I can to work hard to save this country.
Maybe you should become a Democrat, Marjorie.
No, I'm not a Democrat. You want to know something? I'll say this. I think both parties have failed.
Yeah.
Both parties have failed.
This is worse.
Yeah.
He's worse, sorry, you know that. He's still your favorite president. He goes against everything you just said.
Look, I like Donald Trump. I fought for him to win. I'm very thankful for the secure border. I'm friends with Lake and Riley's mother. And we saw I serve on Homeland Security. Over 12 million people came across our border. Over 2 million gotaways. These are terrorists, cartels, all kinds of criminals. We don't know where they are in this country, and that affects all of us. That's not a political party thing.
That's one thing. There's so many other things to go after him on.
That you seem to disagree on. I've got to tell you, I'm sitting here just stumped. Because you are a very different person than I thought you were.
Well, you've only seen me in clips
and
headlines.
That is,
and that's not fair.
And that is true. Now, you've broken from the Republican Party on a number of issues, including, besides the shutdown, such as the war in Gaza, tariffs, Trump's desire to expand AI, foreign aid. But you've also had these clips highlighting the very public spats that you've had with your colleagues, where your behavior, some say, is just unbecoming for a congresswoman. And you're promoting conspiracy theories like QAnon in the past. But you seem to have grown past that. And I feel like I'm sitting next to a completely different Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why the change? Why the evolution?
Well, Sonny,
It's like you've gone so right. It's like you're on the left now. It's like this.
I'm not on the left, and we could talk about Russian collusion. That was a conspiracy theory and a lie. There's lies that come from both sides. Let's be really honest with
the
one
Russians
another.
did try to affect the outcome of the election.
Russia collusion with Donald Trump was an absolute lie, and all the information's coming out. So both sides have had their lies, but here's where I'm at. All of this two-party fighting, you guys, you are all victims of the political industrial complex. And it's built on fundraising and fighting and toxic just garbage. And that exists all over social media, but that's not going to solve our problems in this country.
Would you say you don't believe in the QAnon conspiracies anymore?
Oh, I went over that a long time ago. I mean,
you've changed.
Well, no, I haven't changed. I was a victim just like you were of media lies and stuff you read on social media. You all have attacked me many times on this show. Because of things that you read about me that weren't true.
Or clips we've seen.
Or clips you've seen
The Jewish
that
space
took me out of
lasers.
context.
What was that about?
No, but
Wait, hold
not
up.
even true.
Let's
It's
take
been-
a second.
Yeah, it's been
I'm
rebuffed.
getting...
Surprising, huh? Surprising. I did not like the fact that she went on The View either, but I think it was important that she did, because you saw her push back on Russia collusion. She pushed back a lot during this interview in a very respectful way. And the audience, they bought in to that respectful discourse. Definitely Hollywood scandals go back since the 1940s or not, if not earlier, from dating, etc. Exactly. I think there's a lot of world leaders involved in the Epstein files. Absolutely. There's got to be. He didn't want to arrest Hillary because her husband was president. Yes. And, think about the implications. I mean, how many world leaders were involved here? What the hell was going on? This could be the focus of everything and destroy our economy. It could destroy everything. She should not laugh with them. I hear what you're saying, Kevin, but it was her against 5, and I think she handled herself well. I have a lot more of the interview if y'all want to see it, but I mean, I just wanted you to see how she handled herself. And I was surprised she went on, but I'm glad that she did. Hello, Beer Nuts. Good to have you here. Thanks to President Autopen for his big money giveaway. That was for opening the borders, but she got that in too. I mean, she got a lot of messaging in on this show. Not that there are a lot of people that watch The View, but for their audience, it was good. She got a lot of information to them that they otherwise would not have gotten. We seriously have to cut the spending, right? So do you see what I'm saying? I'm with her too. The stuff that she's saying is not wrong. That's what MAGA wants. So, but at the same time, it's like when you want to be absolutely truthful with your children, right? I'm a parent that's going to tell my child the truth 100% of the time. Are you going to tell that kid there's no Santa Claus while all his friends are waiting for Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy? I mean, how do you want to tell the kid every single truthful thing when they ask questions? I mean, do you really want to be that kind of a person? There's reasons that adults have information that children don't because they don't know how to handle it. And there's reasons that there are some things that are top secret in every country. But I mean, yes, we should know there should be transparency, but we have to be careful about it. I admit I didn't watch her entire interview. Yeah, it's worth it. It's on YouTube. Find it. Full interview of The View because I absolutely cannot stand those bitches. They were interesting, and she did really well. I was surprised how well she did about the world leaders. Yeah. Oh, friggin'. Well, even if the world leaders, they need to be exposed, let it all crumble and build back with integrity. I get you, Kyle. But if we're cut off, what if she is involved? What if, what if we don't know the extent. I mean, they had the UK. What else could be going on here? We don't know. And it's easy to say, just do it. And I'm with you. I believe in absolute transparency. I believe in that. But I would just say that I trust him enough to know how to handle this. And we're in a 24/7 news cycle and nothing anymore. There's no time to get ahead of stories anymore. And unless you're the robot where you can pivot and you're getting the talking points, which we don't want to be as Republicans, there's a reason there's a reason that these files are coming out the way they are. And like I said, if you really want these people prosecuted and these women to receive justice, you have to make sure that you protect the evidence so that a case can be built. And I don't think just opening everything up is the right way to go. I thought she did good too. Yeah, it's amazing, huh? President Autopen is a big part of why our nation debt is what it is, along with the cost of everything. They still blame Trump. Yeah, right. And the whole thing is, when Trump was in office and he got the economy under control, all the Dems were saying, oh, that was Obama's economy. So then when Biden was in and he caused inflation to go all the way up, they said it was Trump's economy that happened. So now that Trump is starting to get inflation under control, they're saying it's the remnants of Biden's economy. So I'm sorry, what? Did Trump not get to have an economy? It's fucking ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. And we all have to recognize how ridiculous it is. Let's be careful what we wish for. That's exactly right, Angela. Exactly right. All right. Once again, 3647. I can't stop my big mouth from yapping. So don't be mad at MTG and don't be mad at the president. I personally trust him. I wish he wouldn't be so reactionary. I wish he didn't go after her the way he did, because it just elevated her. But at the same time, it put her on all those talk shows, those Democrat talk shows, where she got to say what she wanted to say. And they got to hear the other side. And I have to tell you, I've been talking to a few Democrats lately, and they were focused on, the Democrat news cycles, the liberal news cycles, and they never watched anything else. But now they're jumping around between, the international news and Fox and CNN and others. And like we do on this show, they're getting a broad perspective of what's out there. And they're starting to see that, oh, wait a minute. And look, I understand anybody that does not care for Donald Trump. I get it. He's tough. He's tough, and he's changing government and politics. I understand anybody that doesn't like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I get it, because I'm like that. I'm abrasive, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea. A lot of people don't like me. They think my voice is annoying and that I'm condescending and a big asshole. I don't agree with them. I'm not a big asshole, but I might not communicate as well as others, and I'm certainly not going to roll over. And neither does Donald Trump. And I think that that's why people, they don't like him. But you can't deny that he knows what he's doing. How is The View still on the air? Because there are, certain stations will. How's Kimmel still on the air? Certain stations will put money into bad shows because their agenda is to get that information out. I mean, if you looked at Whoopi Goldberg, she was reading all that information off a teleprompter. It's not like she that stuff comes off the top of her head. And she's on a talk show, right? And she was reading, $40 million for this and that or the other thing. Yeah, we needed Argentinian beef because our beef was being held hostage by these foreign processors. So, I mean, thank you and have a good night. Thank you, Susan Durema. Fake riots worshiping false idols. Okay. Is that supposed to be fake patriots? He's not tough. He's a weak, pathetic excuse for a human. Okay, give me an example. Give me an example of where Trump has been a weak, pathetic excuse for a human. I'd like to know. And tell me who you think is a strong or was a strong president. I'm happy to hear. Bobby McPherson. You abrasive? Yes, I know. I know. That's why I love you. Yes, and that's why I love you too. Whoopsie, not smart enough to think for herself. Yeah. I trust him too, and he knows. Hi, Gwen Smith. Thanks for joining. I trust him too, and he knows what's going on more than we do. I like her too, but who knows if they will make up if things move on. She said she loved him. I think she does. I agree. I think she does. She worked really hard to get him elected. Meanwhile, private bankers are funding Argentina. Unless you have everything in front of you, you can't know what's going on. You just can't. And, the news is not the news anymore. The news, remember Walter Cronkite? I don't think that Walter Cronkite had an agenda, but maybe he did. We don't have that anymore. There's none of that anymore. Everybody is lopsided. Everybody has a perspective, even Fox, Newsmax, CNN, MSNBC, they all have an agenda, and nobody's neutral anymore. New York Times, Wall Street Journal, nobody is neutral anymore. And that's a problem because the American people now can't get news without an agenda. I mean, now even BBC, right? They edited Trump to look like he caused the J6 riots, and then they had to admit they were wrong. And now they're being sued. What happened here? We need you to go on The View, straighten them out. Yeah, right. No, that won't be good. Walter Brokaw, rather. Miss those guys. It was just news. Yeah, Susan B., thanks for joining us. I don't know if were we naive or was it just news? I can't put my finger on it. I think it was just news. Whoever's complaining about Argentina beef really needs to do some research. Yeah, they do. And nobody wants to research anything anymore. Definitely not The View when Barbara wants to start the show. When Barbara Walters, right? It's only one view now, their view. That's an excellent comment, Francine. News Nation does both sides. That's true, Colleen. It does. It really does. Yes. I deciphered because I could speak Francine de Gregorio. All right. Super, super late. I will see you all tomorrow. I enjoyed having this discussion with you, and I enjoyed doing the research because it changed my mind. I changed my mind midstream. I went in with one perspective and I came out with another. ABC in Australia is also far left and anti-right. It's amazing. It's remarkable. Ground News is a great source. Really? Okay. All right. Well, I usually look at foreign news to see, because I know their slant, right? Like when Russia commonly tells people not to come to America because everybody's homeless, and they show clips of Los Angeles and people living in the streets of Portland and Los Angeles. So, it's interesting to see what other people think about us. All right, I'm going to say it again. Good night, everybody. And this time I'm really going. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:00. Share the show. Like and subscribe, especially if you're new. And thank you for commenting. Love you all.